I apologize for my dress. I just came from a practice. So, anyway, uh, Ashleigh Robinson is with us. She's the development manager at Bethany Children's Health Center. A couple of things about her. Edmond Santa Fe, 2015 graduate, Oklahoma City University, 19, master's from Oklahoma City, 2023. After, in her professional career, she's taught English. She's been a lobbyist. And then in between all that, she was Miss Oklahoma in 2021. So we kind of got a high achiever here. So anyway, it's great to have you. Come on up,
Glad
Ashley.
to be here. Got my mic on. Can you hear me okay? Yep. All right. Thank you so much for having me here today. I am also a Rotarian, a part of Club 29 in Oklahoma City. Woo-hoo. So I'm glad to be with a Rotary Club any day of the week. I'm here to share with you a little bit about the best hidden secret in Oklahoma, in my opinion, the Bethany Children's Health Center, formerly known as the Children's Center, if you knew about it back in the day. Maybe you knew about it even further before then as the Children's Convalescent Home. We're in Bethany, Oklahoma on 39th Expressway, and I'm going to share a little bit about our history, our services, and our future. The heart of our mission, our actual mission's kind of long, but the heart of our mission is to maximize the God-given potential of every child that we see and meet with exceptional medical care. And over time, it's looked a little bit different. We'll talk about kind of how that's evolved, but that's the majority of what we do is helping kids maximize their potential. This is a little video. Sometimes the things I talk about and the kiddos that we serve make people sad, but this video highlights the joy that Bethany Children's has and the joy that all of our kiddos get to experience.
Today marks a big milestone for Bethany Children's Health Center. An official groundbreaking was held today for a new hospital building that officials are calling a landmark of hope along Route 66.
What's soon to be the site of a new outpatient building, the $178 million project will help with the rising demand for their outpatient services.
While we're really excited about the fun and the colorful building, it's really about what happens inside.
See, it's a place full of smiles, and I hope that you can remember that as we talk about the kids that we serve and the things that we do. A little bit about our history and legacy. We were founded in 1898 by a woman named Maddie Mallory. She was a teacher teaching in Ardmore, Oklahoma, and she got a new teacher position in Canada and was traveling on the train. It stopped in Oklahoma City, and she got off the train and noticed a bunch of orphan children running around town, and she felt called by God to come back to Oklahoma City after being in Canada to care for those kids. And she did just that. A year later, sold her watch to rent the home that eventually became the original Oklahoma orphanage. And she cared for those kids by giving them room, board, and an education. That is the basis of our service. Originally, we were caring for children, and today we're caring for children. In the early 1900s and 1950s, we changed from just an orphanage to a long-term care facility for kids experiencing illnesses such as polio. And a lot of those kids that we were seeing, some of them were still orphaned, but many of them were only orphaned because they had such profound health needs. And that's where the origin of our healthcare journey started. And then in the 70s, we were experiencing kind of a new wave of leadership. Those two folks in that picture, in the top right-hand corner, are Carol and Albert Gray. Carol was hired as the volunteer coordinator for the Children's Convalescent Home, and she was asked if she knew anybody with their nursing home administrator's license. She said, coincidentally, yes, my brother has his. And they hired him as the CEO, only for him to find out that they were hiring him to shut the place down. It was in such bad financial state that they were convinced it needed to be shut down. And Carol always says that she was called there by God to serve those kids, and Albert always says he was called there by Carol to make it work. And so that's what he did. And they quickly got that place turned around. And in the 1990s, he relicensed the nursing home as a hospital, which then again changed the financial footing of the organization. In 1998, they got a pretty significant gift of $9.77 million from the Donald Reynolds Foundation, which helped them build their complex care facility. It's a 100-bed unit that has mostly long-term kiddos in it, kids experiencing disease and diagnosis, typically from birth. Most of our kids in that complex care unit are going to stay about 4 years. And almost all of them are non-ambulatory and nonverbal, meaning they're going to be in a wheelchair or a hospital bed most of the time, and most of them don't use words to communicate. They use body language and other communication devices instead of words. In 2008, we expanded a little bit more and were established as the first inpatient pediatric medical rehab unit in the state. To this day, we are still the only inpatient rehab hospital for kids. And that expanded our bed capacity to 120 beds. And then in 2017, we built another building, expanding our bed capacity to 160 beds, and also establishing our outpatient care services on the second floor, primarily giving therapies and clinic opportunities for patients that don't necessarily need to be there overnight with us. They want to be home with their families, but they need a little extra support to gain that independence and maximize their potential. I have only been around Bethany Children's professionally since March of this year. I was doing some other stuff, as you heard in my bio. But I know a lot about the history and a lot about this organization, mostly because that building that we built in 2017, the ribbon cutting was actually cut by my little sister. That's my baby sister, Danielle. She, in this photo, was 16 years old. And she does have Down syndrome, but on top of Down syndrome, she was living a very vivacious and lively life. She was going to hip-hop dance classes, volunteering at our church, very involved in our youth group, and walking around our very big campus. And after telling our parents and some friends that she couldn't really walk around anymore, her bones were hurting, they took her to the doctor, and she got blood work done, and we found out that she had leukemia. And it was very advanced, and she was in complete organ failure. And they took her into the hospital and gave her a couple blood transfusions and realized things weren't really going to go so smooth. You know, sometimes in the movies you see a kid with cancer and then it's romanticized. That really did not happen with her. She checked into the hospital on a Tuesday, and by that Friday was in a coma and stayed in that coma for about 3 months. And that was at OU Children's, and we are so grateful for their service because they saved her life and kept her alive for those 3 months. But when she got out of that coma, she couldn't sit up on her own. She couldn't roll over even. As you can see in the picture, she had an oxygen tube down her throat through a trach, and she couldn't eat, so she had a tube to feed her every single day. And things were looking pretty grim, especially for a really vivacious young girl. So we were nervous but excited when they said that she was going to be leaving OU to go somewhere else. And we thought, oh, where's she going to go? We can't take her home. We can't care for her in the way that she needs care. And luckily they said, well, she's actually going to head to Bethany Children's. And we had never heard of it before, even though I had grown up 20 minutes up the highway. And we went over there, and the first week she was there, they had a prom. and she had missed her prom because she had been in the hospital. So it was a very exciting thing for her, even though she was still in a wheelchair and still hooked up to all the IVs and things like that. And that was the beginning of what would have been a really joyful 5 months for her at Bethany Children's. She got to go home after 5 months, go back to school, graduate from high school, beat cancer, and walk across her graduation stage because of the physical therapy that she got at Bethany Children's. And now she's 25 and works. I'm very proud of her. I'm very proud of her. And she is representative of a lot of the kids that we serve. Many of them typical bodied, some of them disabled before they come to our hospital. But at the end of the day, they're all valuable, and we love serving them. And she had a lot of those therapies that a lot of the kids get today even still. So I walk the halls and I see all the things that she got to do in the places that she was. And it inspires me to share more about what we do and why we do it. A lot of these kids can be independent and can grow to be people that work and contribute to our communities. They just need that support and that help to get there, and that's what we do. So our services, what do? We have inpatient and outpatient care, inpatient complex care, rehab, and transitional care. That complex care is going to be our kiddos that are there for a long time, 4 years-ish is our average. Rehab care, though, are going to be most of the time typically developed kids that have experienced an illness or injury. Think a car accident, think cancer, long-term care, those types of things. And our transitional care are going to be kiddos that maybe can be independent but need a little extra help, typically for nutrition services like tube feeding. And then our outpatient services, like I said, on that second floor of our tower building, mostly specialty clinics, general pediatrics, and therapies. Occupational therapy, respiratory therapy, all those therapies. These are some of our kiddos to give you an idea of what that looks like. So the top right-hand corner is going to be our rehab. That kiddo was in a car accident. He's learning to walk again with one of our therapists, Melanie. Down in the bottom right-hand corner is going to be our complex care. These types of kiddos sometimes stay with us their whole life. Sometimes it's only a few years. But as you can see, he's got his oxygen tube in his wheelchair, and he's got multiple different diagnoses that keep him in our care. And then over on the left is going to be more transitional care. These kiddos have cerebral palsy, and sometimes their parents just need some respite care. And so they come and stay with us a week or two a year and give their parents an opportunity to not have to give medical care all the time in their home. These are hard numbers to read from far away. I'm sorry about that. I'll give you the highlights. That map shows all of the states that kids come to us from. So right now we have kids all the way from California all the way to the East Coast in Pennsylvania and Massachusetts. And that is because we are innovative. And we'll talk a little bit more about how we innovate. But we're very innovative, and kids roll into our hospital on a gurney and 6 weeks later walk out of our hospital going back home. And that's why we see so many kids from all over the place. Down in the right-hand corner, I'd like to point out the 2024 lines. That's how many kids we sent home back to be with their families last year. And 331, you'll notice that's almost a child a day. Most of those kids are from our rehab unit because the kiddos in our complex care do stay a long time. But our rehab kids, we try to get them in and back out into the world. And like I said, whether that's from an illness or an injury, we try to make sure that they have everything they need to be independent again and go back to their homes. Our outpatient services, you can see in the top left-hand corner, that's our general pediatrics and specialty clinics. And then the other two are going to be examples of our therapies. Some of the kiddos that are learning how to be in their body, maybe they're like this girl on the right, she's got dwarfism. And so she's learning how to support the weight of her head on her little body. And so she's working on occupational therapy and physical therapy. Down on the left, we've got a little bit of recreational therapy, learning how to play. And he has some leg support issues also. And so they're working on balance in that picture. The high points of our outpatient care are that last year, we served almost 25,000 individual appointments only from our outpatient services alone, which represents about 4,600 kids. And that's all on that second floor of one building, about 20,000 square feet. And our wait list right now for our therapies is about a year and a half. And so I, even since starting at Bethany in March, have had friends tell me, oh, maybe you'll be able to get me off the wait list. And I didn't even know we had a wait list, if I'm being honest, before I started. And even another former Miss Oklahoma, at Miss Oklahoma this year, said, do you think you could get me in? And I was like, oh, I don't think I have that kind of pull anywhere in that hospital, but I can try. What do you mean? And she said, we've been on the wait list for a year. We drive to Dallas every other week for therapy for my son. And it only illuminated just how big the need is for the outpatient services. This is a little bit of that innovation I told you about. Some really, really high-tech stuff, some low-tech stuff that's just as important. The top left-hand corner, it says smart home. I like to joke that it's not really even all that smart because it's a normal home that we built within a little part of our hospital. And it's meant to be a training home for our kids and parents. When they have experienced an illness or injury and maybe their body has changed but their home hasn't, it's important for them to feel prepared to go back home. And homes have narrow doors and plush carpet and stairs, and so it's important for them to be able to practice that instead of going straight from a hospital environment that has wide doors and slick floors. And it helps them feel more prepared to go back home. But also some pretty innovative things, as you see, like deep brain stimulation. We had the first brain implant in Oklahoma. There's a kiddo that wasn't able to control his limbs, and through an implant, he has complete control over it now, which is technology is way over my head, but that's okay. And then some other things that are just as cool technology-wise, a Locomat, the zero-G 3D system, all of those things that are available to our kids. Celebrations, that's a discharge parade. 331 of those last year, and it's always joyful to see. And then we do adapted recreation and fine arts. We're also involved in the community. We like to joke. I like to joke at least. Oh, just kidding. Well, maybe it'll show, maybe it won't. I like to joke that I want to put ourselves out of business when it comes to our rehabilitation services. We see so many kids from preventable accidents. And whether that's from ATV riding, car accidents, safety from swimming, or the lack of safety with swimming. All of that comes with education and resources for parents. So if kids know that they're supposed to ride with a helmet on, they're more likely to ride with a helmet on. If kids know if they're in an ATV accident, how to recover safely and not injure their neck more if they have. Or if a parent has a car seat and it's not quite the right size, they can come to us and we can tell them that. And a well-intentioned parent with a good car seat might not know that their kid's still going to get hurt in that car seat because it's not the right size. So we help them out, tell them what they need. We also have a community pharmacy. We have an in-house pharmacist that hand fill 12,000 syringes a week of medicine for our kids inpatient. And we were hearing lots of people from across the state tell us that their compounding pharmacies in their towns were closing. And our kids need medicine. And so we bought a Carl's Jr. across the street from the hospital and turned it into a pharmacy. And now we ship medicine all across the state to 8,000 kids. And it helps them get the medications they need because typical pharmacies don't carry those compounded medicines. Now, moving forward, all of those needs that I said we have on our outpatient floor, we are answering them through a new outpatient center. If you're unfamiliar with Bethany, we're right on Route 66, and so this new building that we're putting up is going to have an official landmark on Route 66, which is exciting because the 100th anniversary is happening in the fall of 2026. So that big old caterpillar right there is going to be planted right on Route 66. We're going to have a little Texas turnaround, if you will, for tourists to come and take pictures with the new landmark. We have a partnership with the Department of Tourism, Department of Transportation, and the Lieutenant Governor, and we're going to get a big old shield that says Route 66. We're excited for the business it's going to bring to the Bethany corridor because at the end of the day, we are the biggest employer in Bethany. Any guesses how many employees we have? 600? 1,200? Just under 1,200 employees in our facility. And you know what? I'll give you a Bethany coffee cup if you come out and tour with me for free. It's going to be an incredible new addition to our campus and to the Bethany community, but also to our state. I hate the idea of any kiddo having to leave the state to get the care he needs or she needs, and being able to come to Bethany and get the therapies and appointments that they need to be able to stand, to walk, to sit up on their own, to recover from an accident that could have been preventable but maybe wasn't. We're really excited about this resource for our kids. This is the inside. It's got a little kaleidoscope of butterflies. That's what they call a flock of butterflies, is a kaleidoscope. A lot of that Route 66 imagery is incorporated in the entire building. So we've got the little hospital signs in the elevator bay. We've got the Route 66 Diner Cafe, which will be a lot of fun. We are a Christian hospital. We are very firm in our foundation about faith, and we're continuing to do that through our chapel. We tore down a tree to level off the ground, and we wanted to do something with it, so a local artist is turning it into a cross for our chapel, which we're really excited about. And a lot of the imagery within the hospital is butterfly themed because, again, we do get a lot of kids coming to us barely even crawling, and eventually they leave in a very different way. And we think that it's very indicative of the transformation that everybody goes through when they come to our hospital, whether it's a kiddo or someone that just is changed emotionally by knowing about us. Route 66 imagery incorporated all throughout the hospital, 3 different floors, 3 different themes. And again, we do have kids all the way from California to the other side of the country. So we have Santa Monica Pier, a little bit of hints of Disney here and there. And all of the imagery includes kids that look just like the kids we serve. So kids with wheelchairs, kids with oxygen tanks, and other mobility devices. That way they feel like the art represents them. There are ways for you to make a difference, ways for you to get involved. Even if you just tell a friend to tell a friend about us. We want the word to get out about us because many people don't know about us, and the more people that are hearing about us, the more people are thinking about our kids and our families. If you pray, I ask for you to pray for us, for our kids, for our families and staff, because they're going through some hard things, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so great. So just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. If you want to volunteer with us, we have a very special former volunteer with us, Miss Kathy. Hey. When she found out that I was coming to speak today, she shared some really, really great pictures and memories of volunteering back in the day. And I wish I could have them all in my PowerPoint because they're so great. And you had some great memories with Teddy and some other special people. So it's a great opportunity to volunteer and be involved if you want to drive to the city a little bit. Or come take a tour with me. I love showing people around. It's the best place in the world. It's like Disney. And even though we care for kids that are sick, it's still the best place to be. So there's a little QR code if you want to scan to tour or scan for our website, all other things. And I put little about us and about our building brochures on your table. I have other resources too if you're interested about other specific projects or things. And I open to your questions.
Anybody have questions for Ashleigh?
Yes. Oh, you're supposed to talk in the microphone.
You
I
have
will
to have
find
the
you.
microphone
Mr.
for
Hart.
Zoom
It's okay.
so that we
I
can
get
share
it. I get it. Yes, sir.
I used to find people when they didn't use a microphone, so I have to use a mic. So is the building under construction now? What's the state? How far along is it?
Great question. So we broke ground in May of 24. We're about a little over a year into construction, and we'll be open to patients in about January of 27. We're really excited. It's 200,000 square feet. It's a $178 million building. If you want to donate to it and get your name on a room, tell me.
How are you funded primarily? I mean, what's the division?
So our long-term kiddos primarily receive Medicaid, and the cost of care is mostly covered by that sort of insurance. Our rehab kiddos are there short enough time that typically private insurance covers it. And then everything else comes from donors, really, really wonderful people.
Are you concerned about Medicaid funding or any of your federal or state fundings?
You know, a lot of the cuts that are happening aren't for the type of critical care that our kids receive. Our current CEO, his name's Nico Gomez, and he was actually the executive director of the State Healthcare Authority for about 15 years. So he'd be a better person to ask about it because he knows all about all of that. And he's assured us that he's not worried because our kids do receive such critical care that they're not likely to be cut. And if you're concerned about our kids being cut, you should contact your legislators. Thank you. Other questions?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
So, are you in partnership with other hospitals or care facilities similar to yours in other parts of the country? I'm thinking of St. Jude's Hospital, for example, as being one of them that you see advertised a lot.
Sure. We do have relationships with a lot of hospitals across the country. We are pretty unique in that we are an inpatient rehab hospital. We don't provide surgical care, traumatic care, acute care. And so St. Jude's provides more something along those lines. We do have partnerships within the state with our trauma centers at like OU and St. Francis in Tulsa. Regionally, we have about 4 peer hospitals, and across the country we have about 20 total in our cohort. But we're the only freestanding hospital like us, and so everyone else is pretty much attached to a research university or medical school.
One. Back on the 178 million. Where did that come from? I know you said donors, but 178 million of donations is. We need you to be up here doing something.
It's so funny. Now that I'm doing this work and have been doing this, I have talked to a couple of friends that do fundraising full-time for other organizations, and they said, oh, I don't know how you're going to do it. And I said, first of all, who could say no to these kids, first of all? But second of all, we as an organization believe that if you go where God is calling you, he will provide for you. And that's a lot of what's happened. We have let God cast the vision for our organization and the way that we behave and build. We only build what we need. We don't build things we don't need. And through great partners like the Green family, the Hobby Lobby organization, the Chickasaw Nation, lots of family foundations, we were able to raise kind of the corpus for the origin of the building. And through hospital billing jargon that I'm not able to say all of the words with, we're able to bill some of it to the cost of care. If you think about some of the cost of care with a kiddo is the building that they're in. And so some of that's able to be billed back to cost of care, but the majority of our foundation of it is through really generous people. Really generous people.
So those really generous people, do you share cell phone numbers or, I mean, I'm asking for a friend.
So
I'm just kidding.
That phone call that God
Kind
gave
of.
to Carol is
Right.
also that phone call that other people are getting.
Right.
So call God.
Yeah. So I know him.
Okay,
So that's great.
Call him.
Okay, so you talked about that waiting list that's
Yeah.
impossibly long.
Yeah.
So is this new building, it's for mainly outpatient therapy, right?
It's completely and exclusively outpatient, which is our wait list. Our inpatient services don't really have a wait list necessarily. We are licensed for up to 160 beds, and we're at a 95% census about at all times with our inpatient. But if you think about it, if a kiddo needs rehab care and we don't have a bed and we say, sorry, we don't have a bed right now, they don't then wait for us to then open up a bed. So they go somewhere else, Missouri, Texas, those types of places. But our outpatient care, they do just end up staying on the wait list. So our expectation of growth of care is about a third. So we're expecting to grow about a third within our patient visits, even just in the first year, up to over 30,000 appointments every single year in that outpatient center, which means our staff is also going to grow about a third, and we'll continue to meet the needs that are put before us.
Excellent. Anybody else have one final question? Oh.
I'm hesitant because I don't want to cry. So 2003, flying back from Los Angeles from a business trip, the actor Mark Harmon sat down beside me on the plane, right? They were just getting ready to start this TV show, didn't have a name, NCIS, the original one, right? So talked about that, talked about movies, and he talked about the Children's Center as he and his baseball team made up of Hollywood greats were coming back to Oklahoma to raise money for the Children's Center. And we became fast friends, and he said, come to my baseball game. I'll leave you all the tickets you want. I want to talk to you after the game. And I want you to meet Teddy Roberts, a young man there. And so he said, it's a holy place. He said, I'm not a spiritual religious person. He said, but go, tour it. It is a holy place, and it will change your life. And it did. And that young boy, Teddy Roberts, changed our life. And so I just implore you, think about going to Bethany and taking a tour of the Children's Center. It will change your life.
It'll change your life. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I'd love to give you my business card, talk to you about coming out to Bethany and getting a tour. Please pray for us. Thank you.
So